There we go.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode. My gosh, we've been away for 2 weeks and I can't talk anymore. This week's episode of Paranormal Lens. I am Jamie Widener, your host for the evening, along with Chad Thomas, as always, the
Uh-huh.
co-host with the most. Sir, how are you? It has been forever. I haven't seen you in weeks. What's new?
I'm tired.
We were supposed to rest while we were away and like catch up on things, and
Who has time for that? No,
yeah, no,
I
right.
mean,
Everything else happened.
yeah. I was at my summer camp and it was a very hectic week. We were two people short in the kitchen, so that meant very long days.
Oh
But that's
yeah,
okay because it wasn't about me. It was about being there for the campers and giving them their best you know, the best food that they could get, and
absolutely.
did
Funny
that.
how that happens a lot of times in a lot of places we go to, and the goal always is to make it seamless on the front side, regardless of how fast and you're paddling under the water on the backside.
Hmm. So,
Way to be a professional.
but we had a good time, and it was a long week, but the guy got more out of it than I put in. It was one of
Yeah,
those things. So,
I
so
totally
anyway,
understand.
yeah. What about you? What'd you do?
Well, I did a thing. I literally did a road trip, and with a few folks you may know or maybe you've heard of before. Two of them are here, Todd and Carmela, with
Huh?
how is it 222 Paranormal Guys? I'm going to say it wrong. I'm so sorry. And then Bert and Heather and Heather's daughter Kaya with Southern End Paranormal. We all trekked up to Vermont into the wonderful Green Mountains and went to Wilson Castle 2 weekends ago.
Very
Um,
good.
which was a lot of fun, actually.
Okay.
The nearest town, there's Kyle. Hey, Kyle. Um, the nearest town there is Rutland, although it is in a town that's called Proctor, which is a very, very small, like hamlet thing.
Okay.
Rutland is a major town. I can't call it a city. It's not like Burlington or something bigger. But I got there on a Friday. Everyone else had gotten in ahead of me, and they were like, "Hey, there's a fair going on downtown." So there we went and wandered around the streets for a while. And all these vendors were set up. There was a stage. Um, I got to admit, I got a little excited. The closing act is somebody you've never heard of, but someone I have, a guy named Howie Day, artist back in the early 2000s, like stuff. And there he is on
Uh-huh.
stage playing acoustic guitar, like the headliner of this of this small town fair, which apparently he's from there or from around there now. I think he's really from Maine originally, but anyway, I had a CD or CDs back in the day. That's how
Okay.
old I am. Yes, I had CDs. Uh, but and I knew songs, and I was happy and fun, and got my first dose of maple soft serve ice cream that night.
That's good.
'Cause that's a requirement in Vermont or anywhere in New England in the summer. Um, and cruised on back to the hotel. The same space where the fair was in the morning was a farmer's market, which we came back to. It was really great. A lot of local stuff. Got some maple syrup because apparently, I like maple now. Um, and we went and investigated the castle. And we met Andy, which you've talked to Andy already with when we
Yeah.
did the episode a couple months ago. Um, Andy is all that you would think he is. He's a fountain of knowledge, enthusiastic. He has a passion for the property. We met Denise, who is the current owner, the granddaughter of Colonel Wilson.
Right.
Um, Not living on the site anymore, but still deeply invested and passionate about the place, opening up to the public. And I got to tell you, there was a few firsts for me there as an investigator. The one thing, and they very much like Booby's Brewery, our home base. They have an upper floor ballroom. In this case, it's on the third floor, and the entire group was in the room ahead of me. I think I stopped to change batteries or something. I came in much later and moved a chair off to the side away from everyone else. And clear as day through the Spirit Talker app, I was told to get out.
Yeah. There's a comment there about that.
Okay. Yeah. I have never been asked to leave any space in all my years of investigating. So, and what happens when you're told to do something? What do you have to do? You have to honor it, right?
Hmm.
So I left. I went over to the tower room, which is also on that third floor off to the end, the one corner of the building. Sat there and had a session by myself. So eventually, someone came and got me. I came back in. I wound up laying on the floor right next to the casket and a REM pod between me and it. There's a
Hmm.
travel casket in that room, which is creepy. And started having all kinds of activity on the REM pod while I was right next to it. So that was also a little cool. Um, But there's a video that's circulated at least once around in the week already that I thought was the most interesting thing. And this is from Talking Carmela. You have it here. You can show it.
You ready for me to roll it?
I'm not going to say a whole lot. I think it's self-explanatory. You might have to turn your volumes up a little bit to catch this. There is a lot of audio in it. It's about 1:15 or so not terribly long. Take a look. The bell here, closer to the end of the table, is a yes answer. The bell further to the middle, in front of the chair, is a no answer. Okay, let's try this just to have some conversation. You know, we can't see you, we can't necessarily hear you.
I have my temperature on.
You done talking with us?
Are you ready for us to leave and go back to our hotel?
Stop the camera.
There you go.
Stop the camera and a yes.
Stop the camera and yes.
Wow. All right. Well,
All right.
That's it.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. We didn't get sat there in silence, and then, wow. God, you made it to almost 4.
All right. We respect your wishes.
Yeah.
Oh my! So it is literally 4 a.m. We've been at this since I think probably about 7 or so, 7:30 in the evening. So a long night, long experience in all floors that we could access. You can't access the basement, unfortunately. It's a dirt floor and somewhat unsafe, so we're not allowed there. But every other floor of the house, that to me is one of the most interesting things because the spirit talker is what the voice is. It says shut off the camera, but then that's a full phrase.
Right.
And then immediately, but we have, Todd has a dead bell, I have a dead bell, and then we had a REM pod. So I said at the beginning, this one at the end of the table is a no, this one's a yes, closer to the middle, and then we'll use the REM pod as a maybe. How often do we get to do that where we have that kind of a setup?
Right.
And there was definitely responses on all of them at 45 minutes or so of the session, but right near the end, and asked the questions, do you want us to pack up and go? And that's when the shut off the camera came, and all like you heard, just like right after was the yes bell. And again, what do you do? Like same thing for me upstairs is when you do something, you got to honor it. You can't just hang out and keep asking questions, and
Right.
you lose your reliability with that session, with that spirit. So we did literally packed up and went.
That's cool.
And in between all of that, there might have been an experience with a bat that Todd had, and there's a lot of language that I don't want to show here, but if you follow them at all, and I highly encourage you do, the video has been posted. They co-host the Stay Haunted podcast. It's on Monday evenings. Last week's episode led off with it as well. So
Okay. Well, as Stacy said, oh my, that was an interesting one. So good.
I highly recommend Wilson Castle, and just for the beauty alone and the step back in time feel that you get coming into it. It was all with materials from outside the country. Everything was imported. All of the Todd says I plead the fifth. Yeah, well, too late. The craftsmen who put the house, I almost said assembled like it's a Lego kit, who put the house together, built the house, were all from Europe. The craftsmanship is not to say it's above or better than anything anyone would have done in Vermont or New England or anywhere here in the U.S. at the time, but you're talking the 1880s. And the money that they had to do this was obvious, and it's just so ornately gorgeous still.
Well, you're about a different style than what we were building at that time.
Oh, absolutely. And Stacy's left a comment here, and I'd say anytime, no problem. Yes, we'll make it happen. So I want to go investigate with you guys. Same here. So yeah, it just came from error. I have a lot of pictures. I didn't want to put it through this. This is not a Wilson, Castle episode. But I tried to capture a lot of that. And there's still like original paint on the walls, and the ceilings are painted, and it's in the grandest sense. And the artifacts that are in the home. Colonel Wilson was world renowned for building radio stations and also fixing them. Ones that he had someone else had built, and he had to fix it for them.
Mm-hmm.
There's furniture in there from the Vatican. There's furniture from the Ming Dynasty. There's artifacts from those kind of places, from his travels around the world. And how he settled in the middle of nowhere, Vermont, is beyond me. But I'm glad he did.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm glad the house has stayed in the family for all these years and still is under Wilson ownership. So,
well, we did talk about that a little bit in the episode we did on Wilson Castle back in originally.
April.
So
Yeah, it was like April or end of March, early April.
So yeah.
There's a call back there, folks. If you have, go check it out.
So.
Yeah.
Well, and then after that,
then we did another thing.
We weren't here last week, but we were on another show. We joined Seekers Chronicles Paranormal Historians for an evening with them, a 2-hour episode with them. It was so much fun. When you get like-minded people together and just let it rip, you have a great time. We talked a little bit about Booby's Brewery, but then we talked about a whole bunch of other stuff. We kept going down rabbit holes. I think Anthony and I were feeling the same way. Like we were like trying to get a word in edgewise between you and Jenny, and it was like, and he was trying to roll video, and so I was like commiserating with him because I understand how it goes.
All right.
So, which is
sorry.
which is the
sorry.
No, this is the perfect dynamic. That's how we work, and it's great. It was just you just see it on another side, and so
yeah. Again, we recommend it's episode 40 for their podcast. It's airing right now. That's our challenge with cohabitating. They 8 to 10 on Tuesday nights. We're 9 to 10. So we can't commingle very often. That's why we took the week off, just to make sure we can make it work. But what you don't see after the 2 hours was the other hour that we were off air talking still as well, and probably the 30 minutes or 20 minutes at least before. And we could have went. We've said it several times in the episode. We probably could have had a 3 or 4 hour episode. I don't know if my bladder would have lasted that long, but it was Steve Dill's epic episode time, right? We joke with Steve being on all the time. So it just went by and it happened. And it was such a fun and cool evening. Look forward to seeing them around the way again.
Well, Jamie, we have our second invitation to do another show. So
sure. No problem. Have your people talk to our people. We'll make it work.
So yeah, we'll talk offline, Stacy. So, but that's not what we're here to talk about this week, right, Jamie?
No. What are we? Oh, wait, I know. I got it.
I hope so.
So as your host this evening, I probably should know what's going on, right?
Right.
So we're going to talk about the Thunderbird, and not the car from Ford, not the Air Force elite flying guys who buzz around in blue and yellow jets, although that's kind of where this goes a little bit. We're going to talk about the Thunderbird from Native American lore. And we always start with the where, and pretty consistent, Chad. This is pretty much the entire northern tier of the U.S., from the East Coast to the West, and all the way across. It includes southern Canada as well. Although I didn't focus this information around that so much, but there is a consistency all the way through. And these are tribes who didn't necessarily have any contact with each other, from the East Coast to the West, but the similarity is striking. So I'll get into that in a little bit. But before we get there, I have a question.
Okay.
And this is for everybody. Feel free to chime in. But we've all experienced a thunderstorm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Recently, quite a few.
Very recently, right? I think it'd still be thunderstorming in my basement. At least the rain's here. But thunderstorms form when an air mass becomes unstable, when air in the lowest layers is very warm and humid, or air in the upper layers is really cold, or both. Rising near surface air in unstable air mass expands and cools, making it warmer than its environment, which causes it to rise even further. If enough water vapor is present, some of this vapor condenses into a cloud, releasing heat. It makes the air parcel even warmer, forcing it yet to rise again water vapor fuels the storm. Okay. We've all seen lightning and thunder and heard the thunder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's a bit of a reason. Lightning is caused by the separation of electrical charges within the thunderstorm cloud, leading to a buildup of positive and negative charges. When the electrical potential difference becomes large enough, a mass electrical discharge occurs, creating the bright flash of lightning. Okay?
Yep.
And thunder is caused by the rapid heating and expansion of air due to a lightning strike. When lightning occurs, it heats the air around the lightning channel, to extremely high temperatures, causing it to expand rapidly and create a shock wave. The shock wave is what we hear as thunder. Okay? So
Yep.
you can have lightning without thunder, but you cannot have thunder without lightning.
Right.
So what if I told you there was another, not so sciencey explanation for the cause of thunder and lightning?
I'm intrigued. It would be
That's what the Thunderbird is.
normal.
All right.
Okay.
So what is a Thunderbird? Thunderbird is a bird-shaped supernatural being who causes the flapping of its enormous wings causes thunder. Lightning can shoot from its eyes, is so large that legend has it to have picked up a whale in its talons, is adorned with colorful feathers, has sharp teeth and claws, can bring rain, which is good, but also can cause destructive storms with high winds, floods, and fire caused by its lightning, which of course is bad. And it lived in the clouds high above the tallest mountains. Because of its ability to bring rain to help with crops and keep rivers and stream levels high, the Thunderbird was highly respected and revered. However, because it could also bring destructive power to entire villages, it was also feared. Most importantly, the Thunderbird was a protector. In Algonquin mythology, the Thunderbird is the controller of the upper world, or as the world was controlled by the great horned serpent, which wants to control humans. The Thunderbird works to protect humans by constantly throwing lightning bolts at his adversary whenever he appears. Also, according to Algonquin legend, the Thunderbird is an ancestor to humans and helped create the universe. Within the Menominee tribes of Wisconsin, there is a legend that tells of a great mountain floating in the western sky where the Thunderbirds live. From their home, they control the rain and keep an eye on the great horned snakes called the Mis-ik-Inukbik. The reason for this is that the Mis-ik-Inukbik wants to overrun the earth and devour mankind. No bueno.
Nope.
As before, there is thunder and lightning, and it is believed that the Thunderbird is protecting the tribes. In the Ojibwa tribes of the Northern Plains, they have a similar tale of the Thunderbird protecting humans. It is their belief that the Thunderbird was created by Nanabozo, a high spirit, and that the birds live in the four directions but migrate to Ojibwa lands during the spring and summer when the threat from the underwater spirits is the highest. They then migrate south with other birds for fall and winter. I do want to note that the Ojibwa tradition, the Thunderbird is responsible for punishing those who break moral codes as well.
Okay.
So, in Winnebago lore, when solitary fasting, a man has a vision of a Thunderbird, he will become a war chief. The Winnebago also believe the Thunderbird has the ability to grant extraordinary abilities to people. Among the Plains tribes, including the Arapaho, the Thunderbird is associated with the vibrant summer season, a time of growth, abundance, and renewal. In contrast, the white owl represents the winter season, a period of dormancy and reflection. In the traditions of the Gros Ventre tribe, the Thunderbird is revered as the giver of the sacred pipe, a symbol of peace, unity, and connection to the spiritual realm. The Sioux people view the Thunderbird as a noble creature that safeguards humans from the Anoktahila, a dangerous reptilian monster that lurks in the depths. In Shawnee mythology, some tribes believe that the Thunderbirds are shapeshifters, capable of altering their appearance to interact with humans. The Shawnee tribe believes that the Thunderbirds sometimes appear as boys, identifiable by their particular habit of speaking backwards. Think kind of like Yoda, Star Wars, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
In cases, Thunderbirds appear as beautiful young maidens and marry into a tribe. And artifacts depicting the Thunderbird have been dated back as far as 4,000 years ago and still can be found in totems, jewelry, and pottery. Here's a few tales of Thunderbirds. This first one's a little long, so bear with me.
Mhm.
This is a Tillamook legend. Once upon a time, there was a man. All stories start with once upon a time, right?
Uh-huh.
All right? And you have to. Once upon a time, there was a man who lived at Slab Creek. One day he went up the creek to spear salmon. When he started out, the sun was shining, but soon dark clouds came up and it began to thunder, and then it cleared up again. But soon a new shower came on, and he was unable to secure a single fish. He became angry and said, "What is that great thing that always darkens the water and prevents me from seeing the fish?" He went on, a tall spruce tree in which a large hole had been burned by lightning. He looked into it and discovered a little boy. When he looked closer, he saw the boy coming out. As soon as he had stepped out of the hole, he began to grow and soon reached a height taller than the spruce tree. His skin was covered with feathers. Then he said, "Now you see how tall I am. Don't look at me. I am the one whom you have scolded." Then the speaker, who was none other than a thunderer, took the man's salmon spear and blanket. He leaned the spear against a tree and hung the blanket onto it. He took the man under his armpits and flew him towards the sky. When they reached a considerable height, the man almost fell from under the armpits, and then the ladder descended again and allowed him to regain his strength. He thought, "Where shall I put him in order to prevent his falling down?" He said, "When we reach a great height, close your eyes so that the strong wind which prevails up there no harm." Then he flew up again and ascended in large circles. Each flapping of his wings was a peal of thunder. When the noise ceased, the man knew that they had arrived at the Thunderer's home, and he opened his eyes. On the following day, the Thunderer told him to go and catch salmon. The man went to the beach but did not see any salmon, while many whales were swimming about. Then he went back to the house and said, "I do not see any salmon, but whales are swimming about." "Those are the fish I was speaking of," replied the Thunderer. "They are our food. Catch a few." The man replied, "They are too large, and I cannot catch them." They went out, and the man saw that the people were catching whales the same way as he was accustomed to catch salmon. The Thunderer told him to stand aside, and he himself was prepared to catch whales. He caught the largest one and carried it up to a large cave which was nearby. When he had deposited it there, the whale flapped its tail and jumped violently, shaking the mountain, so that it was impossible to stand upon it. One day the man went up to the river and saw many fish swimming in it. He thought, "I am tired of whale meat, and I wish I could have some fish." He went back to the house and spoke to the Thunderer. "Grandfather, I have found many fish, and I want to catch them." He made a fish spear, which he showed to the Thunderer. The latter looked at it, but found it so small that he was barely able to feel it. It slipped under his fingernail, and he was unable to find it again. Then the man said, "How large are your nails? They look just like a crack of a log." And the old grandfather laughed. The man made a new spear fishing salmon. Before he went, the old man said, "Don't catch any more than you are able to eat. You may take 4 or 5. I cannot even eat one." When the grandfather laughed and said, "I should eat 100, should I not have enough." The man went out, caught one salmon, and brought it home. He was going to split it, but he was unable to find a knife small enough for cutting the fish. Then the Thunderer split a rock, as he thought, into very small pieces, but the largest of these was so large the man was unable to lift it. And the Thunderer broke it into still smaller pieces and said, "I fear I have to spoil it, for it has become dust so fine that I cannot take hold of it." The man went out, but even then the smallest piece was so large that he was unable to lift it. After the Thunderer broke it again, the man had selected the smallest piece. He said, "It is still too large, but I think I must try to make use of it." Then the Thunderer told him how to cut the fish. He followed his commands and cut the fish, as the people of the Thunderer was accustomed to. He roasted it and ate it, but was unable to eat all. Then his grandfather laughed and said, "Put it aside and go to sleep. When you awake, you will be able to eat more." When the man awoke and wanted to continue to eat the fish, it was gone. It had returned to the river from which he had taken it. He took his spear and went down the river to catch another salmon. But there he saw one half of a fish swimming about. Strange, right?
Uh-huh.
It was the one he had been eating. He caught it and roasted it and finished eating it. The next day he caught another fish, and when he had eaten half of it, he went to sleep. He tried the rest to a pole in order to prevent it from returning to the river. But when he awoke, he found it had returned to the river. He had burnt one side of the head of the salmon. And the next day he was going to the river. He saw the same salmon swimming about. It had taken some grass to its mouth and covered one side of its face, as it was ashamed to show how badly it was burned. The thunderer said, "Burn the salmon when you roast them, for they do not like it. They may take revenge upon you." The next day the thunderer went wailing. The man asked him to allow him to accompany him, as he wished to witness the spectacle. The thunderer granted his request, but when he came home in the evening, he found that the man was badly hurt. He had been able to stand on his feet when the whale was shaking the mountain, and he was hurt by falling trees and stones. But on the following day, he asked once more to be allowed to the thunderer. He tied himself to a tree, but when the thunderer came back in the evening to fetch him, he found he had again been badly hurt, as he had been knocked about by the swinging trees. Meanwhile, the relatives of the man had been searching him for over a year. They had gone up to Slab Creek, where they found his spear and blanket leaning against a large spruce tree. They did not know what had become of him. They believed him to be dead, and his wife mourned for him. One day, while he was staying with the thunderer, he thought of his wives and children and longed to return. He said to himself, "Oh, my children, are you still alive? There was no one to provide for you, and I'm afraid you are dead." The thunderer knew his thoughts and said, "Do not worry. Your wives are quite well. One of them has met. I will take you back tomorrow." What the thunderer called the next day was actually the next year. The following day, he took him under his armpits and put him back at the foot of the spruce tree where he had taken him, and then went back home. The man believed that he had been away for only 4 days, but it had been 4 years. He did not go to his house, but stayed in the woods nearby, where his son found him. He asked the boy, "Who are you? Is your father at home?" The boy replied, believing him to be a stranger, "No, I have no father. He was lost 4 years ago. For a long time they looked for him, and finally they found his clothes and his salmon spear." Then the man said, "I am your father. The thunderer took me up into the sky and returned." Then he inquired after his wives, and the boy replied, "Mother is well, and all my brothers have grown up and are also well. Your wife has married again, but mother remained true to you." Then the man sent him to call his wife. The boy ran home. "Mother, father is in the woods." His mother did not believe him and whipped him for speaking about his father. Then the boy went out crying. He said to his father, "Mother did not believe me." The man gave him a piece of whale meat and said, "Take this to your mother. I brought it from where I have been." The boy obeyed and took the whale meat to his mother, who said, "I will go with you, but if he is not your father, I shall beat you." Oh my. She accompanied her son and found her husband. He returned with her into the house, and she invited the whole tribe. The man danced and became a great shaman. For 10 days he danced, and the people feasted. Then he told them where he had been and what he had seen, and they said whenever they wanted to have a whale, they would get one. After some time, the thunderer came back and took him up once more, and he stayed for 10 years with him. Then he came home and lived with his people. Happy ever after.
Now that 10 years, was that of his years or 10 days?
Of his years here.
So it was 10 days there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I found that interesting that there was a time shift element in this as well.
Exactly. 1 year in the Thunderer's home was 1 day there was 1 year here. So his tenure of time is uniquely different.
Mm-hmm. Which is, an interesting. It gets into some interesting theories because of the theory of relativity in time and how in space time is different, and it just for a concept like that was developed by this tribe of people is pretty amazing.
It is. It absolutely is. And you have to understand, I guess, from the perspective, the Thunderbird is a mythical creature.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to follow the bounds of time. At least it's our construct of it.
Right.
It's also very interesting. You don't know where with like I said in the beginning, they live in a cloud above the highest mountain. So, obviously he elevated with the bird
Right.
to get to the place. So, is there some crossover at that point? We'll never know, obviously, but it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have another one. This one's much shorter. This is an Inuit legend of the last of the Thunderbirds. Long ago, there were many Thunderbirds living in the mountains, but at last there were only 2 left in the area. These birds made their home on the round top of a mountain overlooking the river. They hollowed out a great basin at the summit for a nest, and from the rocky rims they would look down upon a village upon the riverbank. From this perch, the Thunderbirds looked like a black cloud. They would soar away, bringing back their young, a reindeer, in their talons. Sometimes, with a great noise like thunder, they swooped down upon a fisherman in his kayak and carried him away. The man would be eaten by the youngs, and the kayak broken into bits in the nest. Every fall, the young birds flew away to the Northland, but the old birds remained in the nest. They had carried away so many fishermen that only the most daring would go out on the great river. One day, when a fisherman went to look at his traps, he cautioned his wife not to leave the house for fear of the Thunderbirds. During the morning, she needed fresh water and started for the river. A noise like thunder filled the air, a black shadow fell over her, and a thunderbird darted down upon her. When the fisherman returned to his house, people of the village told him of the thunderbird. He made no answer. He took his bow and quiver full of arrows and started for the mountain. When he reached the rim nest, he looked in. The old birds were away. The nest was full of young eagles with fiery, shining eyes and shrill cries. The hunter fitted a war arrow. The string twanged, and the arrow killed a young thunderbird. So the hunter killed them all. The hunter hid behind a great rock near the nest. When the old birds came home, the thunder of their wings was heard even across the great river. Their cries of rage frightened the villagers on the river's bank. The mother bird swooped down on the hunter beside the rock. Quickly he fitted a war arrow. The string twanged, and the arrow bit deep into her throat. Then the mother bird, flapping her wings so that the hills shook, flew away to the Northland. The father bird circled overhead and then swooped down upon the hunter. He crouched below the rocks, and the thunderbird's great talons caught only the rock. The hunter fitted a war arrow in his bow. The string twanged, and the heavy war arrow bit deep under his great wing. Spreading his wing like a black cloud in the sky, the thunderbird flew away to the Northland as well. Hence the last of the Thunderbirds.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave with this. Thunder and lightning are easily explained by science. Warm air, unstable atmospheres, electric charges, and shock waves and all. But long before weather maps and meteorological forms, indigenous peoples across North America had their own explanations, rooted not just in observation, but in spirit, story, and deep respect for nature. The Thunderbird isn't just a symbol of storms. It's a protector, a punisher, a provider, and a powerful spiritual voice. Its wings do more than make thunder. They remind us that ancient stories carry meaning, and that nature itself has always been something to revere, not just explain. So the next time you hear the thunder, maybe it's warm air meeting cold, sure. Maybe, well, just maybe, it's also the mighty Thunderbird, circling overhead, watching, protecting, reminding us that not all storms can be measured with instruments. Some can only be felt. Cite some sources and we'll discuss. So first off, nasa.gov/resources/FAQ/what causes thunderstorms. Legends of America.com, Thunderbird, Native American. EBSCO.com, Research Starters, Religion and Philosophy, Thunderbird Mythology. Audubon.com, magazine/rulers of the upper realm, Thunderbirds are powerful native spirits. PNSN.com, Outreach Native American Stories, Thunderbirds and Whale. AmericanFolklore.net, The Last of the Thunderbirds. And NativeHistory.org, The Thunderbirds of Native Americans, Legends of America. So, Chad, there's a lot here.
There is a lot there. That would take a while to unpack.
Yeah. And, and the more interesting most interesting thing to me, I think, is the dynamic of how Native Americans and Native peoples in general, whether it be First Nations, folks in Canada, here in the U.S., found a way to explain the dynamic of nature in a way that fit into their lifestyles and their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it all across the country from east to west
Right.
in such a similarity.
Right. They would have had no way to figure out the cycle of the clouds and the water water vapors rising, cooling, falling, rising, heating
Right.
and cooling. And like they couldn't experience that, but they were used to nature, animals, and when an owl flies, it makes noise when it's flapping its wings.
Yep.
So it makes sense that one group came up with this, but to have such a consistent story, what caused that?
Right. Now,
And
there's some connective tissue here, though.
Mhm.
Neighboring tribes. These are oral traditions, right? So the
Right.
stories are passed down, and just because there's First Nations people in Canada doesn't mean they did not have contact or connect to any tribes in what is now America or United
Right.
States. Um, Certainly not. There were no boundaries there,
Right.
other than their own territorial boundaries of what they perceived to be their land.
Right.
But it wasn't like they didn't need a passport, to
Right.
come over and commiserate with the other tribes.
Right.
So I'm sure
And,
some of it's connected that way.
and I'm sure there was like marriages between tribes and things.
Yep.
I'm sure that so you would have exchange there, but to have it sweep the entire country is just. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's pretty cool that it happened.
Yes. It is very cool.
And
And
we're talking about something that happened with this, but we also have with the pyramids, and like we have pyramids in Egypt. Again, we're talking about bands of the globe.
Mhm.
If you think about it, like Egypt and the America have the same sort of band. They're not connected. So how
Absolutely
does
not.
that work? So yeah.
The I guess the benefit of oral traditions is that they're continuously passed down. And it's not just, the stories, the verbal stories. There's art. There are petroglyphs from 4,000 plus years ago, in cave walls and rock walls, all of these areas depicting a thunderbird, the rendition, at least, of that tribe's version of it, with enough similarity to say that's the same thing everywhere.
Right.
Um, that alone, again, that's art. Art is stories, right? You're telling a story just visually instead of verbally. So that alone is just maybe that's how things got carried,
Mhm.
between tribes and therefore between regions and areas. Um, I'm not versed here enough. That is more of an anthropology thing than an archaeology thing
Right.
from my background. But I can certainly see that being how things were carried. But and we're talking over a long window of time. We're talking 4,000 or 5,000 years ago.
Hmm.
To now, that is a huge window of opportunity. It's for travel and engagement.
Right.
And the amazing thing to me, and we've talked about Whisper Down the Lane or the telephone game before, how when you start the story over here, by the time it goes around the room, you've just in a small classroom sample that I, first time I played it, how the story changed from front of the room to back.
Hmm.
Imagine how it may have changed, should have changed, not may have changed, should have changed from
Right.
East Coast to West Coast or West to East or middle to either.
Hmm.
But there's such a consistency across that it's amazing, the continuity and the consistency. And maybe it's just a dedication to continuing the story the way it's been presented, which is fascinating, and I'm grateful for it. Obviously, I think we all should be.
Right. I also
Not just the Thunderbird, but so many other things as well.
Right. I also found it interesting that the one tribe you said had the summer animal was the thunderbird, but the
The
winter
winter,
animal was
yeah,
the white owl.
yep,
Which again, there's thunder I mean, there are,
yeah, of
so,
course.
um, so it's just like I said, it is fascinating how this all happened, and so and the when the thunderbirds fly across, Jamie, now in their blue jets, they do believe, they create their own thunder.
Yeah, they do. They sure do. We had them recently here, if you can notice that or not, but they were in at Harrisburg International Airport uh, recently in the last month or 6 weeks even.
Or
Yeah,
that, I
a
think,
longer by now. But they
was
had
that
an air
the
show.
Blue Angels? It may have been the Blue
Oh,
Angels.
sorry, it was the Blue Angels. I apologize.
That's okay. But
It's Navy.
Navy, Air Force,
Yeah, different things.
Yeah.
Got to get it right. Uh, that was pretty cool. I happened to be in the area that day, and there was a lot of cars pulled all over the place. And
I'm
we stepped
sure.
to the store and got out and like, hey, what the heck? Like I thought there was like a carnival or something. They're like, no, look, like
Look
there
up.
they are. Impressive to see.
Hmm.
The precision of those pilots is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've seen some videos where they're flying wing to wing, and
Yeah.
like in between, like then the cockpit is in between the wingtips. It's like, how? No, not for me.
No.
I'll ride on the jet in the middle, but
Yeah. I'll take a window seat, and that's about as close as I need to be to anything else.
but anyway, we digress.
Yeah, we definitely did. Yeah, sorry.
But anyway, it definitely an interesting story. So just fascinating. Another Native American legend to explain what they were experiencing.
Yep.
And and that became part of their religion. From what I'm picking up, and it just, and that's how so many of things were developed with religion. Is it what they were experiencing in real life that they didn't understand became a religious aspect of their life, and it's cool.
Well, what I find is interesting too, and it's like all things. There's goods and bads. The good is, of course, the protecting. And there's this constant battle of above and below going on. The Thunderbird being above and good, Great Horned Serpent being below and bad. And one wants to do harm to you, the other wants to help you. But the helper can be a harm if you slight it. You don't do the things it needs you to do. And there are stories of it turning entire villages, the Thunderbird turning a village into stone completely.
Right.
So because it's your benefactor doesn't always mean it's to your benefit. And I think that's an intriguing spin or detail in the mix of all of this. And I'm sure that, the Great Horned Serpent might have had some endearing qualities. Maybe he was just a really nice guy and misunderstood. I don't know.
I know, but it goes back.
But
it goes back to other religions where the force of good also needs to teach lessons,
right.
and like we had the one where they would separate themselves from the Dibigabaka episode where a spirit would separate itself. The Jewish community, the spirit would be separated from God if they committed a crime that wasn't acceptable, or they could be separated permanently. And just so again, here we've got a spirit teaching a lesson, and so yeah,
it's amazing. And this is one of many, many stories. So hopefully we'll have some more along the way as we go through all the things we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but thanks for indulging me on this one. I really, I've been intrigued by the Thunderbird. It's a tale I've heard many times over, and never really got a chance to dig into it. And of course, is it paranormal? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, I'd like it to be, right? But it does it make for a dynamic story and a fantastic thing? Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a legend, and legends are ride that line of paranormal. And is it? We ask the question again. You're probably right. I don't think it is paranormal, but wouldn't it be cool if it was?
Yeah, agreed. And the argument, I guess, has always been, well, if it was real, which there's some plausibility to that since it's been depicted so many ways in so many places, then where are the remains? Right? It's the same argument for Bigfoot, right? Where's the carcass?
Right.
But because it's a mythological creature, that it lives in a place that's not reachable by us. There's and they are as the second story tells, they can be killed. Where are those remains? They've never been found. So that leaves some to say, well, that means it's not real. It doesn't exist. It's just story. And others say, well, because it's mythological, perhaps that's why you can't find it.
Right. But we often have said that Noah's Ark would never be found, was never found.
Sure.
But there's now belief that has been found.
Agreed. Yes, I saw that recently as well.
So maybe we will, we think we've explored the whole Earth, but we haven't come
You're
close.
not. No. There's a
So,
lot of spaces.
and then you get into parallel, you start getting into parallel universes, things like that. Who knows what's out there?
Sure.
So which that you go that way, multi-plane creature, as Bert just commented,
Okay.
which is it's a good thought. Who knows?
Yeah. I agree.
So,
All right. Well, I want to ask you a question before we go too far,
okay.
and move on to what's coming up and all this stuff. And just as a feed here, and I asked this question off air last week with Jenny and Anthony, because I came across it last week as well, and it was a good time to ask. I didn't want to bring it up in the episode because apparently I talked a lot during it. But does a place need to have a ghost to be haunted? You remember this question?
I do remember this question.
So for the audience, and later on, if you're catching this on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a comment on this, your thoughts. But I paused when I saw this question, and I didn't. Usually you read something, you're like, oh yeah, but come up with a quick opinion, an off the cuff answer, whatnot. I really had to stop and think about that for a while. And if I remember correctly, you and Jenny said yes, and Anthony and I said no. So that's a 50 thing, right? Half and half. So I still don't, my opinion hasn't changed. I still say no. It doesn't have to have a ghost. There could be other things, an elemental, some other being. If again, we're going with a multiverse opportunities, then it could be a lot of things. But we assume, I guess because we're trained to, that hauntings are associated to ghosts or ghosts associated to hauntings either way.
Right.
There could be other things. And I want to ask. What y'all think
Well,
about
it. It's one of those that it's hard to answer the question without putting some bounds on the question.
Not fair. Okay.
So do you classify elementals into ghosts and spirits? Which as giving a little heads up here, a little heads up here. I'm doing an episode on elementals in November.
Yes. Cool.
So hopefully I can find enough. I gave myself plenty of time on that one.
Right.
I was like, I don't even know where to start. So
you have to do it now. You said it, so.
Well, we're self-produced, so we are flexible, Jamie.
That's fair. All right. Yeah. We might get canceled by then. Who knows?
So anyway, yeah, but I think you just need to. That's a hard question to answer without putting some boundaries on the question.
All right.
Or you can leave it open, and then it is just.
I like how you're trying to swim on this one. You're not getting very far.
No.
Keep paddling now.
So I'm not going to give an answer. I'm interested to see what other people have.
All right. Me too.
I mean, you gave my answer, but
I know your answer. Well, unless you've changed it. Okay, fair enough.
So anyway, good episode. Thank you. Sure. Definitely a lot to think about.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
So okay. So you want to talk about what's coming up?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Upcoming episodes next week. Okay, I do want to preface my episode next week, the Annabelle doll. I picked this one after the doll was coming to Gettysburg, before the event that happened with Dan Rivera. It was not intended to be anything about that, but it does give us more to think about. So this is. I'm not trying to tie this or make this a soapbox or anything like that. But I do want to challenge you, Jamie. I want you to come with your opinion of haunted objects, and are they haunted? Do they have a spirit tied to them? Like what is it? So
you just asked me to ask the question I just asked, or answer I just asked. right?
Sort of.
Yeah. All right. I'll be ready.
So
I
anyway,
got you. I got you.
so that's July 29th, next Tuesday. August 5th, we're going to talk about Savannah, Georgia, America's most haunted city, question mark.
Mhm.
New Orleans was another one is that the most haunted city?
Maybe.
So August 12th, this is one I hadn't heard of before, Saratoga County Homestead. I was watching a show and came across it and was like, oh, that's interesting. So we'll do that. Then Jamie's going to do on August 19th, the Ancient Ram Inn
In the UK.
in the UK.
Yep.
And then I'm going to look at the hauntings of Ford's Theater. So we all know that is the place where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. So we'll see what we can find about that. So,
All right.
let's see. We've got investigations that are coming up. We have the 26th this Saturday. Thank goodness it feels like it's been so long, Jamie.
Oh my gosh, it's been years since we've been there.
But it is sold out. So if you're interested in getting there, you don't have a ticket for this week. Look at August 16th because we still have tickets available for that. September 27th.
They're actually moving kind of quickly as well. So
Mhm.
don't wait. If you're in the area or interested in being in the area, Mountjoy, PA, and want to investigate Booby's Brew with us.
And
the
what
entire next paranormal team.
and what else can you do if you're in Mountjoy? Because it's always better when you sleep over.
It is always better when you sleep over.
It's more fun, or something.
Let's go with it.
So
All that is true. Better, more fun.
yeah.
All that.
And then we've got October 11th and 18th. We're at the brewery. November 8th, and then we do have one in December. We just don't have it up there. So
We're wrapping up the year very quickly here, it seems, and it's funny to say that it's July, and here we are talking about the end of the year.
well,
Speaking of sad things, though, Chad, I heard yesterday that pumpkin spice is going to be available in select retailers in mid-August now. So,
geez.
come on,
Well,
man.
And as you know, yesterday I was in Penn State doing new student orientation with Zoe.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when Zoe moves into the dorms
exactly 1 month from now. So
it's like I can't believe it. So
yeah, not yet. Too soon.
So where to find us? You found us either on YouTube. There are two places on YouTube or Facebook tonight. We're also on TikTok, Instagram. You can eat questions, thoughts, critiques, praise, any of that at Paranormal Lens Podcast at gmail.com. You can find all the links at linktree/paranormal lens. Or you can check out our website, jot-nix paranormal.com. It's on the link tree. Check it out there.
It is there. Yes.
So,
and if you're out and about this weekend in Gettysburg, PA, I'm pretty sure Chad's going to show up to the the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I almost called it the Great Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to make it, but I have a very busy day. Plus, we have to get back here to Mountjoy area for our investigation that evening. So it could be
I'm going to have a busy day. I'm going to my dad's in the morning. I'm going to help him out for a little bit and take a change of clothes and go up to Gettysburg.
Down the street, so you might as well.
We'll then rush home and take the dog out, and then rush back to Mountjoy, and yeah, we'll have a great day.
You are a frequent driver, sir.
And Todd and Carmela were asking if we'd be there, so we answered that question.
Maybe, probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, and all the stars aligning for time and such. I also have to help my dad in the morning with some things at his house, so it's logistics around all of this. And it always seems to fall on a weekend. We have an invitation, so that's
yeah, it always does. So,
yeah. But it's going to be a great event. Anyone in the area, just look them up there on Facebook. The Gettysburg Battlefield Bash is found right away. Great lineup of people and opportunities to engage with seminars and workshops and whatnot all through the weekend. So get there if you can. Be there, be square.
Yep. So any final words and thoughts, Jamie?
I have one. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news today, but Ozzy Osbourne passed.
Yep.
A friend of the paranormal, along with his son Jack. And my age group, at least, someone we all grew up with through music, but then later as a media personality. And I just have one wish. Well, first of all, thoughts and prayers to the family, for this time. It's never easy to lose someone, especially the patriarch of your family. But I really, really wish that if Ozzy's going to come back, he is one freaking awesome ghost, and we get to see him somewhere along our travels, because that'll be a blast.
Yep.
Rest easy, sir.
Yep.
And thanks for everything.
Yep. So, yeah. On that note, let's stay alert, stay respectful, and stay curious. Good night.